Thank you. Please get back to your seat. I hope we don't ever change the DelDOT logo because it's like imprinted in concrete. It will be. Even if we want to change it, we're not changing it. All righty. Thank you so much. So our last presentation of the day is with DelDOT Bridge. And I'm just going to let you guys know this now before the end of that because everybody starts to leave and I don't have anybody's attention. So tomorrow the kids are going to be here at school, so we encourage everyone to carpool if possible. And just FYI, on the sign-in sheets, we are only doing that once per day now, so if you thought you needed to sign in for the PM, don't worry about that. It's just for tomorrow morning. I think that's it, so without further ado, Craig and Nick from our bridge group. So this is just put them on. Okay.
You want to hold them both up? Hello? Can you hear it?
You have to hit right on.
Have to hit on. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Craig. This is Nick behind me. I'm looking out in the crowd. I see a lot of people that I've disappointed over the years. I got Doug Rock came to visit. How you doing, Doug? Good to see you. I disappointed him a few times. Shantae, I'm going to walk across the screen. Last year you yelled at me. I'm just going to walk. Okay, good. All right, stay there. So here, I want to stand over here because I get nervous and I got a lot of energy. And by the way, in the back, yeah, back there, close the laptops, Jason Hastings. Close them up. No. So tell me if Jason Hastings sends an email during my presentation. I'll be on teleconferences with him all the time. He's in the other office and bloop, I get like 6 emails. I'm like, are you paying? I thought what I was saying was very important. Obviously not. So today, Rob McCleary kind of took a little bit of our thunder today. It hurt a little bit, but we really do love the fact that he supports us in the bridge design section because who's heard about the bridge design competition? Everybody, right? Because everyone was paying attention to Rob. No laptops were open, right? So I'm just going to give you a summary why we're doing the bridge design competition because a lot of people say that, well, that's not in your job description, and it really isn't. And where it all started. Let me tell you something. It's funny that Doug Rob's here. You can click this over because when I first, this has nothing to do with Doug Rob, but I first. Public outreach at Indian River Inlet Bridge was a lot of fun, okay? And what I loved about Doug Rob is I got to do all the stuff that wasn't cool, like work on the pylons, right? Could do that, and then also, Craig, can you go talk to people about what we're doing? So I went out there and realized that people hate us. They really do. I mean, is there any place, we have federal highways here, I don't think there's any other state that they hate their DOT as much as here. Am I wrong? Oh, I'm wrong. Okay, so there are others. Okay, Jersey. So anyway, it started about 10 years ago, and basically in the first 5 years, I've said before that I touched 500 children's lives. And it was like, oh, you touch children. That's not what I said. Kevin, because you always say I say it. And then the last 5 years, we're doing up to 40 to 50 presentations a year, which amounts to about 2,500 students per year. And I think that's a great, great thing that we do. And what do we go and talk about? We go and talk about bridge, and we talk about how good DelDOT is. Because it is good. And we really believe that. You can switch it over. So, why do people not like us? Who remembers? They're coming back. This is coming back, folks. Now, I don't know that he hate me's coming back. He added this onto it, but I want you to be careful. If you don't like beeping or people that are threatening, you may want to leave the room. Because this is a real exciting thing. I think this is a message that Kevin got. Is that right, Kevin? This is a message that came off of Kevin's phone from one of our constituents that loves DelDOT. Go ahead.
You need to get going on with that 141 bridge. Yeah, no, she ain't picking up the phone now. Well, you know what? I'm going to constantly call you, mother. Yeah, little bit of asbestos around the pipe. You. Fix the bridge.
idea what he said. Now, granted, those were all in Javier's area, right? I mean, Javier and Chris Costello, that's what he was yelling about. The Sussex, the lower, slower Delaware gets it a lot better. But that gentleman didn't like us. You can switch it. So, if they couldn't reach us by phone, this is actually a detour sign that I'm going to read to you. It's not a detour sign. Mike Simmons, you're looking at me, it's not a detour sign. It's a road closed to through traffic. Someone's probably going to tell me what kind of warning sign this is. But this person got so mad, they wrote in marker on her sign where it says, "Why do you idiots close a road and then do nothing? How long are you going to make us ride around these signs? You are really adding to your reputation of being a bunch of lazy, borderline," I felt like this was offensive. This was a bad word. "Idiots with no leadership," and I believe they were referring to Jason Hastings when they said no leadership. Because, you know, he was in charge. The bridge section's gotten a lot better in the last year, I think. But this right here is Jason. So this wasn't good enough. They're like, okay, look, go to the next one. We went ahead and erased it, but they wrote on it again. This time in black marker because that's legal, I guess, as opposed to red. And it says, "How much longer are us taxpayers going to have to ride around these signs before you lazy, can you say, you lazy bad words, finally get to work? It's only been about 5 months." So this is what we're dealing with. Who's here has ever gotten someone that's cranky at you? I'm sure some of you guys out in construction have bottles thrown at you and stuff like that. And I got to tell you something, I have a real low self-esteem, so it hurts when people do this to me. It really does hurt. If you can, I feel like, I don't know what to say, but we got another call. Someone else called in. Now, this person is a little bit upset, and I feel like they did a little better with the curse words. But go ahead, run the tape.
"Hi, my name is and my number is..."
Nice and easy. That's his phone
"And for the
number.
past 3 weeks, I have been driving home on 141, and I have noticed that one of the lanes is closed. One of 2 lanes, mind you. What I have not noticed is a single thing being done. No work being done whatsoever. None. It is ridiculous. I've had enough. What, suffering can line their pockets? Will we all just get our days slowed down? It's ludicrous."
So I think they were referring to PD North and South on that. Not getting anything done for 5. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so you can go to the next one. So anyway, what I decided is that I was going to do one of those. I always heard grassroots, and I don't even know if I'm using it right, but I'm going to use it anyway because I don't care. I wanted to go out there and talk to the kids, man, and start presenting about what DelDOT does, and it felt really, when I did Indian River, it was a lot of fun. Because it was such a cool project. But now, you know, we're doing a lot of pipes, no Indian River, so it's not quite as fun. But I recruited some of these young men, like this gentleman right over here, who's standing right here in that hot. I think the reason Rob had trouble remembering Scott's last name is because he probably in his head refers to him as what? Scotty Too Hottie. Right? That's what went through your head, isn't it? Because I said, it's Scotty Too, oh. And now tell me, Scotty did not look like he was in the catalog sitting there. He's like, oh, it's like a bridal magazine. Hey. So basically what you're going to learn today is that everyone in bridge design is better looking than I am. And we also want to recruit some people to work in Delaware. People that want to stay in Delaware, not people that want to get their PE and leave. People that want to stay in Delaware. We don't want them living in Baltimore. Who wants to live in Baltimore? I mean, be a neighbor of Bill Gestri's, that would be not too fun. Just kidding, got to switch to the next one. So this is basically, we want to introduce the kids to engineering and reach other, that basically, we've been to a lot of schools where there's some at-risk children, and those are some of the most beautiful presentations we do, and Hazel's been there with us and helping us through it, and the teachers go, guys, these guys they're about to be expelled. It's going to be very scary in there. And I'm scared, like I got to wear a flak jacket or something, or, you know, a shield and that. And you go in there, and these kids, and you'll attest to it, are the best kids. Like, they're the best ones we got. They're asking autographs when we're done, you know, which really bodes well for my self-esteem because it makes me feel good. But it was beautiful the way we've been able to help these kids. So I do want to do something before I hand this over to Nick. I made a little, Pam, you? Nick has been tirelessly working on this stuff, and I'm not kidding you. when I stand up here like it's me, it's really Nick who's done this. So everybody chipped in from Federal Highways and got him this little certificate. Thanks, Ryan. No, just... Actually, this is made by Jerry, but I wanted to present it to Nick right now and just say thanks for all your hard work. And he's about to run through why we need at least 25 of you to come. So today we've asked for money for Bridges to Prosperity, right? Yeah. And now we're going to ask for people to volunteer for the bridge design competition.
All right.
Thanks, Greg. There we go.
All right. All right, show of hands, how many of you guys knew Craig before this presentation? Most of you guys, right? So most of you guys know Craig as exactly what you just saw, the big, goofball. He kind of skates the edge between like what's appropriate and what's going to get him sent to HR. But, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. He actually is one of the most dedicated and caring DelDOT employees you'll ever meet. He doesn't know I'm doing this right now, so he's probably getting real uncomfortable, which makes it better for me. I love that. But, he started this whole thing. Without Craig, we wouldn't have a STEM outreach program. And the 2,500 kids we reach a year, that all started with Craig. So, I mean, it's huge. You'll walk by his office at 6, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night sometimes, and he's still there answering emails. Partly because he has a hard time waking up in the morning, but mostly because he's actually tremendously dedicated, all right? So, a little bit of background for me. I actually interned with DelDOT, and Craig was actually the main reason I wanted to come work in bridge design. So I just wanted you guys to know, he is the big goofball, but he means a lot to this department. So I'd like to give him a round of applause. Thank you. All right, now we're done with all the lovey stuff. All right. So we're back to the presentation. We want to shade DelDOT in a really good light. We also want to show students that engineering can be cool. It's a really fun career. We want it to be cool. Unlike this. Hi, Barry. Barry, hi. So I've done 5 or 6 of these different presentations for different reasons. We've been traveling around. We've given these presentations at a lot of places, and Barry's always there. Except he doesn't ever show up to my presentation. So I was at the DBE conference, and he finally showed up and saw this presentation. And now I can't get rid of him. He's in the front row just fangirling like he's at a One Direction concert right now. Contain yourself, Barry. This is a professional environment. All right. So the Delaware Bridge Design Contest, that's really what we wanted to talk to you guys about today. So the idea is we want to challenge these students with real-world engineering design and construction issues. We want them to be able to take the math and science that they learn in the classrooms and really apply it and see that there is an actual application to that. I remember when I was in high school, I took a lot of math tests, and I was like, there is no way I'm ever going to use this stuff. And I want to, we want to show them that that's not the case. In engineering, we actually do use all this stuff. We want to kind of promote that. So the idea with this is we give them a problem. The problem is we need them to design a bridge with certain specifications. So they design and construct a specified bridge type, whether it's a truss bridge, a tide arch. It changes from year to year. But we integrate all the math and the science. We also give them an introduction to a lot of 3D modeling stuff and a lot of drafting software. Some of the kids come from technical schools, so they have a little bit of background with drafting software, but for most of them, they've never experienced this stuff. And kids today, they like their technology, so you give them a little 3D modeling stuff, and they can actually visualize what a real bridge looks like, and they can get a feel for it. So they really like that kind of stuff. And then the other thing, so it's a team event. We want to promote collaboration because in bridge design, we don't do our projects in a black box. We incorporate the environmental section, the right-of-way section, all these other sections. We work collaboratively. So we want to kind of teach them that, that's how it works in the real world. You're not doing everything on your own. So one of the important things, and this is one of the reasons why we've asked for a a lot of money from you guys, is that all the materials and software are free to the schools, so that was huge for us. We don't want the students or the teachers to have to pay for anything because we touched on, we want to reach a lot, not just like your cream of the crop students, we also want to reach a lot of like at-risk students. So a lot of those students come from, school districts that don't have a lot of extra money to spend. So for us, we wanted all of this to be free. All they needed to do was dedicate their time. And that's the big idea. So you can see all these happy smiling faces. This is last year's event. All right, so who can participate in this? This kid's my favorite, by the way. He was like that for most of the day, to be honest. But so it's schools throughout the state of Delaware. Any school throughout the state, 7th and 8th grade in one competition group, 9th and 10th in another, and 11th and 12th. And the teams are groups of 3, and there's no limit to the number of teams. We didn't want to, neglect or exclude anybody. I know there was some time there where, I would meet with Rob and Craig and Jason, and they'd be like, we got to cut this off. We got to cut this off, guys. We got to cut this off. To me, I didn't like that idea because I didn't want to exclude anybody. So we made a lot of extra work for ourselves because last year we had 11 teams, and this year we actually have 81. So we were hoping for 30. Nailed it. Right. So the 7th and 8th grade competition, each group builds a different bridge. For the 7th and 8th graders, it's a simple truss bridge. It can be any kind of truss bridge, actually. So this is just an example of what a 7th and 8th grader would design and build. And here's your patented bridge joke. Oh snap, it's a truss bridge. Guys, these jokes get better, so all right. All right, so 9th and 10th is a tied arch bowstring bridge. This is a bridge in Sydney, Australia. It's a pretty famous bridge, but that's what the 9th and 10th graders are going to be building. So it gets more complicated each year as the competition goes on. So the idea is that a group in 7th and 8th grade might go to 9th and 10th grade and want to compete in this again. So they would build a different bridge and then go to 11th and 12th grade and compete again. So 11th and 12th grade, it's a deck arch truss bridge. I believe this is out in West Virginia. So that's an example of what that looks like. So how does the competition work? It's very similar to what a lot of consultants do for us. We give them a problem. They give us a design proposal. So part of the scoring system, they need to write up their whole design proposal. What their ideas were, what problems they ran into, what their whole thought process was. It kind of spells out everything that they did the entire time. So the design proposal is 30% of the score. It's basically like a written report, almost what they've done for the next 2 months. Then you go to a 10-minute oral presentation with a Q&A session. So there's a lot of engineers in the room. I know a lot of us aren't real comfortable talking in front of people, so this is a skill set we want to kind of grow at an early age for kids that want to do engineering. So you got to be able to sell your product. And then the last part is the bridge performance itself. So we actually load the bridge, we test it till failure, and then so I'll get into a little bit more of that. All right, so the design proposals, basically you're discussing the thought process, your decision-making challenges. You're including design calculations, tests, drawings, like plans, anything you've made. You keep a daily journal of any task you've completed. And then at the end of that, you turn that in, and it's graded using a pretty standard rubric. And we'll talk a little bit about that because I'm going to beg for your guys' help in a little while. The oral presentation, they basically just showcase their work and their creative side. So we had 11 teams last year, and I would say we had 11 completely different presentations. It was interesting to watch these kids get up there and really display their engineering knowledge, everything that they learned. And they were using some pretty technical terms and stuff. It was really impressive watching them do this. And then the 5-minute question and answer was actually my favorite part because we had a panel of judges that actually asked a question of these young students. And a lot of them didn't miss a beat when you ask them an engineering-related question, and what was your biggest challenge? They're just bam, and they're using some serious engineering terms. So it was pretty impressive. And then you get to the bridge testing. So we just passed out all the materials to all the schools. There's 26 different schools this year. But we provide all the materials, and we give them enough material to test multiple bridges. So they can build this bridge 3 or 4 times over before they actually have to build their final bridge. So that allows them to kind of learn from mistakes. They'll build it, test it, see where it failed, see where it's weak, see where it's strong, make some changes, and just learn from those mistakes. And then with that, they're able to kind of hone what their bridge should look like, and they'll bring in a final bridge on the day of the competition on May 1st. So the performance is not based solely on strength. Obviously, that's a big factor. You want your bridge to hold a lot of weight, but it's actually a strength to weight ratio. So we have what the bridge can actually hold divided by the weight of the actual bridge. So that kind of teaches them, you got to be economical with your actual materials, just like in real world engineering. We can build these big, bulky, heavy structures, but is it economical? So that kind of teaches them, real world skills. And then basically it's scored out 50 points, 50%, and that's just the equation we use for the testing. So consider yourself warned. I'm about to show you a thrilling video of an actual bridge test.
52.
That's Gus in the background. Gus is one of our young engineers. Gus, wave to everybody. There he is. He's very muscular.
Keep going. There you go. 64 still. Let's see the deflection. Yeah.
That's Rob in the background.
Very nice.
Thrilling stuff. Thrilling stuff. So no, it's kind of anticlimactic, but the kids actually get really excited. We brought one of our old interns in. He competed in this last year, and we were talking to him about it, and he said that while all these bridges were getting loaded, he was standing behind everything and just tallying everybody's score to see where his bridge stacked up against all the other schools. So it gets pretty competitive. So I know you guys are all probably pretty excited. This has got you guys like that. But, all right, so the day of the event. It's an all-day event. Last year, it took all day. This year, it's going to take all day and maybe some of the evening. But, we give out a lot of swag bags. That's what we call it, swag. That's what young people call it, Barry. So we have swag for all the kids, all the participants. We give out a lot of awards. This picture on the bottom is just showing all of the trophies we made. So we took some DelDOT bobbleheads and spray painted them gold, silver, and bronze. And then we gave trophies to each of the schools that won. But here's some of the swag for the participants. We give out pens, pencils, lanyards, all that stuff. Squeezy toys, because you know how stressed kids are. Medals. And then they all get t-shirts. They all get one of these metal earth bridge structures, which look real simple to build. They take 5 hours and are pretty frustrating actually, but so we give them that gift, the gift of frustration. But awards to the winners, we got trophies for the schools, Wallies for the students that win. Each student gets a Wally that finishes in 3rd, 2nd, or 1st. And then we actually do give out monetary prizes. So last year it was $600 to 3rd place, 2nd place won $750, and 1st place won $900. So it's a nice little payday for a little bit of work from the kids, but it rewards them, and it motivates them to try to do really well. So these are just some shots of last year's winners. I don't know if you've noticed, but Craig and I changed positions in every one of these photos. It's like, where's Waldo? All right, so here's just Craig's testimony. Told you these jokes were going to get better, guys. This is another bridge joke. Get excited. All right. So this is just Craig's testimony, but we actually have a testimony from a student.
I got out of school for a day, so that was but yeah, it was a good time because not only did I get to see the work of me and my 2 teammates progress, but when we actually got to the competition, I saw all kinds of different truss designs and see how they all held up against the machine that tested the amount of weight they could hold.
So a little background, this guy actually interned for us over the summer, did a great job for us. He's one of those guys that you want to recruit for DelDOT because he's a local kid, he wants to stay around here, so perfect DelDOT material. But
I think the most challenging part was knowing how to balance weight versus the amount that the bridge could hold. Because you could build a super bulky bridge and then not hold anything, and you have a really bad design or a bad ratio of weight to how much it can hold. Or you can build something that's relatively light and it may not hold as much as another bridge that weighs more, but the ratio will be better. So in that case, you would get more points in the competition. We finished second place.
And what does that mean, second place?
Second place means first loser.
True competitor.
Our team as a whole got $750. So we split up, $500 to me because I can't. No, I'm kidding.
All right, so how did we pull off the competition last year? It took a lot of help from a lot of different people. Our DelDOT bridge design section, they did a lot of work with this. And then our civil rights department, they really helped out last year. They bought all the materials for us, so I need to give them a big shout out. And they're actually willing to contribute a lot more again this year, which is awesome. So it's really cool. Another group that I forgot to put on this list is actually Pat Davis's group. She's been a real trooper to work with because I've been going down to her office about 3 times a day because I've screwed up invoices and stuff like that. So she's been great. So their whole group has been a huge help. And then we had a lot of sponsors last year, which was huge. We had the Delaware Contractors Association, American Council of Engineering Companies, American Society of Civil Engineers, and the American Society of Highway Engineers. And so we would not have been able to actually put on the competition last year without their help. So that was huge. And we're hoping we might be able to get a little bit more support because the cost of this, obviously with it being 7.5 times larger, is significantly larger. So the 2019 contest, it's bigger. Hopefully we want it to be better. It's 7.5 times larger than it was last year. It's 26 schools throughout the state, 8 middle schools and 18 high schools. 81 total teams, 13 7th and 8th graders, 32 9th and 10th graders, and 36 11th and 12th graders. So this is just a couple groups of students. I think this was McKean and this was Central Middle. These guys actually, they were really impressive. They were a middle school group. And because we had so few teams last year, we actually had them compete against the high school kids. And they held their own. They really did a good job. So it's impressive to see what these kids can do. So this is just the breakdown of the schools throughout the state. We have 13 schools up north in Newcastle, 36 teams. Kent County has 7 schools with 22 teams, and Sussex County has 6 schools with 23 teams. So a lot of the schools are up north, but we do have a pretty good distribution of teams throughout the state. So it's from top to bottom through the state. So it's pretty cool. What we need this year, this is what I really want to talk to you guys about. So we need mentors. The big job with mentor would be, you visit the schools, you work directly with the students, talk to them about, their designs, how they can improve them, maybe talk to them about their proposals, talk to them about their presentation, what they could add, what they could cut. Just really kind of go over the meat and potatoes of the actual competition and what a judge or someone would look for. As a consultant, a lot of you guys have that experience. One thing to note is that mentors, if you mentor at a school, you cannot judge or grade because we wouldn't want that bias. We're trying to keep it fair, guys. But so the other thing that I thought a lot of mentors could do would be to just talk about what your daily job is. A lot of these kids don't know what an engineer is. I know when I was in high school, I thought engineering was actually architecture. And I was an architect for about a year, and I quit because it wasn't engineering. But so talking to them about what your daily work is, a lot that would go a long way with these kids. And then this is probably our biggest need right here is proposal graders, and that'll all happen prior to the competition. And then we need presentation judges, and then of course sponsorship. So the costs this year are roughly about $50,000. Last year they were about 8,000 or 9,000. So, it's really blown up. So, we would love to get some sponsors. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me. My contact will be at the end of this presentation. But as far as proposal graders, the students will be turning in their proposals by 5 p.m. on April 17th. If they don't turn it in, it's not going to get graded. But so we have a standard rubric, so it's really cut and dry on how to grade this. They have it, they get points. If they don't get points. So we have 81 total proposals to grade. Each proposal, we would like to have it graded twice to just kind of get like a balance, maybe a little bit of an average. So 13th, 7th, and 8th grade proposals, we would like to have 8 reviewers for that. So 3 to 4 proposals per person. So we need about 8 people for that. And then 9th and 10th, there's 32 of them, so we need about 16 reviewers. The idea is to try to keep it, I know everyone here is busy, so if we could get you guys to review 4 proposals, that would be a huge help to us. And then 11th and 12th, 36, so we would need 18 reviewers. So it's actually 42 people total, so we're swinging big here for help. So if you guys are interested, I have some sign-up sheets. I also have like a list of contact information for the schools. If you're interested in being a mentor, you can just see me in the back. They'll be there tomorrow too, so don't feel rushed, because I know you guys want to get out of here. The presentation judges, this is going to be an all-day event, so we're going to need you from 8 a.m. to probably about 5. It's May 1st. Again, we're grading it using a standard rubric to try to keep it as fair as possible. 81 presentations, so we want a 3-person panel. The scores will be averaged together among that 3-person panel. The 7th and 8th grade proposals the 7th and 8th grade presentations will all be in one room, so we'll need 3 judges for that. 9th and 10th will actually have 2 rooms, so we need 6 judges for that. Same thing with the 11th and 12th graders. So we're looking at, I'm gonna try to do math in my head real quick. That's 15 judges. I'm pretty good at math, nailed it. All right, so we need roughly 15 judges, maybe 15 to 18. So yeah, our need for judges is pretty high. We're planning on handling a lot of that in-house, but we may need some people on standby to maybe step in if we need you. So at the end of the day, this was last year. It was all smiles from all the kids, and that's what we'd like to see again this year. But I want to warn you, this is probably how it's going to end up for you guys. Anyone who helps, this is pretty much how you're going to look. It's a long day, but at the end, it's pretty rewarding. We have a lot of fun, and we get a kick out of it. Why are you like this?
I don't know.
All right, so I didn't do this by myself, so I want to give a big thanks to all the people that kind of helped me out. I'm sure I'm leaving some people out, so I apologize. But first and foremost, you got to see Scott with his
Duck Dynasty.
His model-like look. This is actually him relaxing at home with his wife's headband on. So he still looks pretty dapper. He's a handsome guy. But yeah, everyone needs a good hair guy. So Scott's our hair guy. He brings that to the team. Sean Weaver, if you've ever met Sean or gotten an email from Sean, you're probably still reading it. Because when you could send an email that takes 15 words, he's going to give you about 350 of them. So, yeah, get excited.
Love you, Sean.
For that.
Love you, Sean.
All right, and then we have Santiago Rodriguez. I kind of threw him into the mix here. He had no intention of helping until I was like, hey, you're doing this. But he looks pretty great on horseback here. I tried to find an embarrassing photo of him, and this was all I could find. It's him on a horseback. He looks pretty rugged. All right, and then we have Paul Hune here. If you've ever talked to Paul, within the first 5 minutes, he's probably thrown 2 to 3 dad jokes at you. Yeah, I'll let you enjoy that on your own time. But then we had Gus. So I really want to highlight these last 2, Paul and Gus. They have been a huge help for me. Anytime I've asked them to do something, hey guys, can you drop what you're doing, take care of this? No problem. I got you. What do you need? That's always been their attitude. So I really want to say thanks to those 2 and these other guys too, because they've been a big help. But yeah, that's all I got. So if you have any questions, ask Greg. But that's it.
Questions?
Everyone wants to go home, Greg.
On May 1st, where is that?
It's right here.
Yeah, it'll be right here.
It's right here.
Probably should have led with that. Probably should have led with that.
Craig Stevens. That's CRAIG, and the Stevens is with a V.
So it's Delaware Department of Transportation. Yeah, that's it.
Or Craig Stevens.
If people give a check to me.
Yeah, so Rob asked who you can write a check out to. So it's actually the Delaware Department of Transportation would be who you would write the check out to. So that's it. Oh, no.
Greg, why don't you first update their email address?
There's always one. It still works, Smarty Pants. Type it in, try it. I don't need this. Is that it? All right, we got out of here early. Have fun.
Okay, so we're all done. So just come at same time tomorrow. And again, try to carpool if possible. Thank you.